Hello everyone, and welcome to State of the Realm, your weekly Final Fantasy XIV podcast. And this week, well, I think it goes without saying, we have a few words for the most recent patch for Final Fantasy XIV, patch 3.1, as goes light, so goes darkness.
Dankness.
But, dankness? You're saying that now, Sly?
Yeah, I'm taking your thing.
You're taking my thing? Okay, don't worry. I'll
Yeah.
just make sure to take a thing or two of yours. But before we can talk about that, let's introduce our host. You know me, Michael, Mr. Happy Poveromo. You know Sly, aka Slythefox, aka Slyh, aka Greyfox, aka you, my boy Blue, aka I'm too tired to make a nickname for this guy right now. How you doing this week? How you doing this week, Sly?
Tired.
Tired? Yeah, we'll probably talk about being tired a lot this show. It could be as goes light, so goes darkness, because I passed the fuck out. And finally, we have a host who comes by, once a month. Sometimes he comes by and he shares with us his eternal wisdom. His name is the lore man, Ethys Asher. How you doing, Ethys?
Hello. How are y'all doing? Oh, I'm all right. I'm probably slightly less tired than you guys.
Slightly less tired?
Slightly.
Yeah, you ready for that? You ready for that carry, Ethys? You ready to carry us?
Ready to carry you through this.
Want to buy
you
run
guys,
through
you
State
guys
of the
the ones
Realm
that have been
20
up
mil.
all day doing it.
Yeah, you're right. You have been up all day doing it. You are absolutely correct. We have been.
That's all right. That's all right.
It's been a rough day. So much so that for the first time in I don't know how long, I made a single cup of coffee, and I made it at this time just to get through the show.
Wait,
I've never done it before.
You've never made coffee.
That's not true.
pre-show?
I think patch 3.0 I did the same thing. I think whenever we have patch days, I make an extra cup of coffee for the show. I think so.
Yeah,
You never have pre-show coffee.
that was the day I said fuck you on camera. Before like when UPS got here. Yeah, that was that.
Yeah, I was about to say, Sly, when did that happen?
Sly, you say that every day.
Yeah, that's true.
Pretty much.
To everyone. All right, so patch 3.1 hit today, guys. Now, I don't know what we've all accomplished in this. Yeah, I know, right? It exists. Believe it or not, Final Fantasy XIV does actually create content occasionally. But I don't know how far you guys have made it. I don't know what you guys have completed, what you guys have heard. We're just going to cover the big items, give our thoughts, give a score, what we'd like to see improved on these features in the future, whatever it is you got to say. Fair enough?
And just a general reminder, we cannot talk about story because there are some people who have not done story. So we don't want to spoil it for them. So, 2-week embargo on story. We won't go into any real gritty details, even though we have Ethys here. And this is when we should do this, but we can't.
It just so happens that Ethys is here on the day where we don't allow spoilers. And Ethys, the worst part is, we got on the phone call with him, and he said, spoilers. I was like, none. He's like, damn it. That's the one thing I know best. Spoilers.
I'll do my best. I'll have to vent them all on my own channel this afternoon. I'm like,
At least it is an afternoon for you after this. It's a bedtime story and a pillow for me after this.
bedtime story.
Yeah, I don't know. Listen to a bedtime. That's what YouTube is. It's my bedtime stories. Just watch YouTube videos. Helps me fall asleep.
What's your favorite bedtime story?
My favorite bedtime story is the story of Boxman.
I don't know what's going there.
Oh my god. Okay, so we have a lot to cover. Now, it's ironic that with a no spoiler week, the first thing I do want to ask about is the main story. Don't want any of the nitty-gritty. I just want a quick 1-2 on this one. What did you think? Lengthwise, how many quests it was? Was it there too much filler? Did you enjoy the time you spent doing it? Believe it or not, it's also the only thing I haven't done so far. This patch.
Do story.
I'll do it. I didn't want to do it on stream because
that's what the embargo is actually about. You just don't plan on doing the story for the next 2 weeks.
No, I'm gonna do it soon. I didn't do it today because I don't want to spoil it on stream.
See, now we can actually say my 3 favorite words. Do the story. Do the story. Mike.
Yeah, I am gonna do the story.
Do the story.
I'm just not gonna spoil it today.
But the story, while it was good, I felt it was cut short. I felt that it was rushed. really good content within the story, but it's like a lot of these things happen so quickly, and then, bam, cuts off.
But hasn't that always been the Final Fantasy XIV way of doing things? Like, here are these events. Oh, and by the way, this important thing. Yeah, we're just going to leave that there for you right now.
Not really. And what a lot of people are going to bring to this is the amount of time it took to, like, make/release 3.1, and then the amount of story that you're going to get. They're going to correlate the two and say, we should have gotten more for the amount of time y'all had to work on this. And it's a fair point. But I still do think that the story that we did get is good. Like, trust me, the only thing you'll be disappointed is the length phrasing. But, like, other than that, it's a really good story. What do you think, Ethys?
So I'm still laughing at the length. Yeah, I pretty much agree with that. So again, the pacing was very different to previous patches, and it's because they're trying to trim out, the dungeons and the trials and all of that, put them in other things to make it, easy to get through or whatever. And you can sort of choose your own thing. Because a lot of people were complaining, like, all the way through A Realm Reborn, that before they could do anything else in a new patch, they had to grind out this story, or God forbid you'd have to do story. So in terms of rushed, and in terms of the time that they spend on it, well, they didn't really spend any more time on it than they did on any other patch. That's kind of been the whole point, right? That said, it was disappointing that we didn't really get that much. It didn't. I don't know. I was left just feeling hungry. You know what I mean?
How long was it? I haven't done it. How long did it take you?
90 minutes.
To watch the cutscenes?
Yeah, 90 minutes.
I was going very slowly. I was talking to everyone that I could, like, in between cutscenes and stuff like that. And it was 90 minutes. So it was very short.
Yeah.
And there's some interesting things in there. Like, there's some really cool cutscenes. There's some interesting new sort of tidbits of lore, and little sort of teasers regarding where we're going next and all that. But it was still it was so little. It was so little.
I feel like a lot of stuff, well, yeah, I'll say a lot. A lot of stuff was put on the chopping block. There were we all had a lot of questions after 3.0, like regular 3.0. I felt like this was the kind of forum to answer all these questions. Not really everything at once, but a lot of questions, deal with a lot of things. There were certain key players in the story that weren't even there. And I'm not talking about, missing persons, we won't say who, but certain key players that really I thought were going to be there and they weren't. So
yeah, you're right. Very few of those unanswered questions have really been moved any further. They're sort of everything's still sort of up in the air. And at the same time, like, the whole as goes light, so goes darkness, we were almost expecting, like, some really bad shit to go down. You know what I mean? And it's like, we've had this big triumph, and now, is Nidhogg gonna do X, Y again? Not going to spoil anything, but I feel like I was expecting there to be some sort of twist or some sort of horrible thing happening, and it didn't really deliver as far as I'm concerned. So I don't know. I feel like, go on, Haps.
I was gonna say, even if something bad did happen, they would just undo it a patch later, right?
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. They're gonna do it. They're gonna do it a patch later, and that's another. That's another 3 months.
No, I mean undo it. I was talking about them killing all the scions.
Oh, no, not necessarily. Okay. Not necessarily.
Yeah, they usually wait till the
Isart's coming back, I have a feeling.
Here's the thing,
don't give me false hope, Haps.
No, that's not gonna happen.
Don't give me false hope.
That's not gonna happen. Not even going to entertain that. So at the end of 3.0, we were all, like, really hyped up on the story. At least I was anyway. It had really escalated to a point. And the thing is, like, 3 months, that's enough for like a lot of people to sort of lose that hype and sort of lose interest a little bit. 5 months, obviously, that's a much longer time, and a lot of the impact of the end of Heaven's Ward was already lost by now, and they kind of had an opportunity to sort of maybe build it back somewhat, and I don't know if they really did that to much of an extent. I've got a feeling at the moment, so we're taking out the trials and we're taking out the dungeons out of our main scenario quests. Is there no reason why we couldn't do something like Before the Fall Part 1 and Part 2 just consistently? Like have story on every half patch?
Well, I'm sure if we gave them that feedback, they would accept it. Because here's the thing that I think, it's sure a lot of people look at the patch length and see like how long it took for 3.1 to get here, and they think, why wasn't this longer? It couldn't be longer because they already knew this was what the story was for 3.1 well before they knew it was going to be a 4.5, 5 month break before the next patch.
Of course.
So it's not like they could have just magically formulated more plots or, you know, different cutscenes to be in there, because then they have to worry about how that works with everything else. I don't even look at it like I waited X amount of time for the cutscene, for these cutscenes, for this continuation. I look at it as, did they just cut out all the filler and give us the cutscenes without making us do stupid shit quests like they did for almost all of A Realm Reborn?
And I'll agree that, I don't think there was really any filler in any of the story quests at all. Like, it was like just pretty much cut and dry story. There weren't really any. It didn't really feel fetchy. It didn't feel like, okay, here's story, then we're gonna throw some Moogles at you. Like, nothing like that.
Thank the Lord they didn't throw Moogles at us.
It actually felt worthwhile, but still short.
Okay, fair enough. I just have one final question since I haven't done the main story. Ethys, what the hell is that face you're making?
I like filler.
So you're a big fan of Dragon Ball Z?
Not that type of filler, but all the filler through A Realm Reborn that everyone's complaining about, I fucking loved it.
That's
the Moogle
where,
quests,
that's
as you
where
guys know, we've talked about this. I fucking loved it.
That's because that's your source material, though.
Sure, but you know,
that's where
it's not only interesting to me because I'm producing content on it. I'm producing content on it because it's interesting.
I'm saying that's what comes back to bite me in the ass. I don't like filler. I don't like the filler. I just like to get through it. I don't give a shit about it. And then the next A or Zivia that comes our way,
I'll win again.
You'll win again, probably, because you'll probably pay more attention to the filler than I do, because I don't like filler.
Or I'll just have Pook on my team again.
The problem is you approach it and you think of it as filler. You sort of give it that label rather than, wow, look, here's all of this awesome, you know, side quest, world building sort of stuff.
Who
you know what I mean?
in the blue hell said that about Moogles? Come on, raise your hands.
He did. He did. Remember when we brought him on? Yeah, remember he was like, I thought it was really funny because they were making fun of MMO quests. It's like, great, make fun of them and don't do them ever again. Pretty much. All right, so, okay, I have one very important question. I know I said no spoilers, but I need a simple yes or no question.
Okay.
Are we going to the moon?
No.
Damn it.
No, it's never happening. It's not happening.
But Ethys, I'll admit something. In a sort of kind of near the end cutscene of something, when I saw the backdrop, I was like, I got pretty hyped for a second because I was like, Ethys is gonna eat his shit if it actually does it, and it didn't.
No, it didn't.
Yeah,
we're going there. Okay, got it.
No,
I actually seem to think that this is going to follow more along the story of. I wouldn't actually be surprised at this point, and I don't feel like this is a spoiler because this goes back to A Realm Reborn. I wouldn't be surprised to see Exdeath appear. In all honesty, at this point, I think that the story. I think the story at this point literally is Final Fantasy V story, because going back to Baldesion, it's exactly the same way Exdeath absorbed. Like, you know how in Final Fantasy... And I just finished, almost finished Final Fantasy V again.
You're talking about what happened at the Isle of Val.
Isle of Val.
And because that's 2.1.
And it's the students of Baldesion, Galuf Baldesion and Kururu Baldesion, both being people, grandfather, all those references. Just the way the island disappear makes me think Exdeath.
fine.
And I don't want it to be X-Death, but if there's a tree, if we find out the Yggdrasil is like in Dravania somewhere, then X-Death is definitely gonna rear.
If Yggdrasil was
just
in
wanna say-
Dravania, it would be towering over somehow. We would have seen it by now, I think.
No, it's underground. The dragons buried it. They were.
Oh
afraid.
yeah.
I
Totally.
called it.
Yeah.
Just gonna say I called it if it happened.
Okay, that's fine. Okay.
I don't
Anyway,
have a problem with
so we're gonna move on from the main story, and we're gonna kind of work our way up the content ladder with this one. We're gonna talk about first the new dungeons, the Saint Mochion's Arboretum, if I'm not mistaken. I don't believe it's Mochiane. I'm pretty sure it's Mochian or something
It's
like
double
that.
C, isn't it?
I think it's only one C
One
double
C.
N.
Then it should be Mossian.
Mochian. There you go. Saint,
Mochian.
that sounds
Yeah.
better, honestly.
If it was two C's, it would be Chi.
See, this is why we bring Ethys on for these shows, because he knows.
I might be wrong, but that's sort of
Yeah, you
linguistic
sound
101.
smart while being wrong, so it's better than us. We just sound dumb while trying to be right.
Saint Macchiato.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
So Saint Mochian's Arboretum and Pharaoh Series Hard Mode. I have to say, Pharaoh Series Hard Mode's my new Never Reap. I don't like it.
Oh really?
I don't like Pharaoh Series Hard Mode.
Why not?
at
I
all.
actually preferred it over Mosion.
I loved Mochian in comparison to Pharaoh's.
Hated. Well, I love Mosion to a point, and then like I just hated it. I hated Mosion.
See, I didn't like. So these dungeons, first of all, Ethys, you're being quiet over there. Have you done the new dungeons?
Nope.
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 So-
I slept last night.
Oh, that's your problem right there.
It's exam week. I've got a fucking pile of papers this high to do.
Yeah, and it better be on Eorzea. So, should write a thesis in that. So, for me, let's talk about Saint Mocion's first. I can see why they said this may have been too difficult in their initial tuning, because they apparently
Well, they nerfed it, didn't they?
they nerfed the
Yeah,
hell out of it
shit
before
out
it
of it.
launched. And they were both pretty mechanically heavy,
Yeah.
but the mechanics at the same time were manageable enough
Yeah.
to a point where you could kind of tell that at some point this fight probably sucked, like really bad.
Mm.
Especially fucking Belladonna.
Yeah, Belladonna is definitely what comes to mind. It's a simple fight, but you can tell that at some point it was much worse.
And see, it's the simplest shit about Belladonna, but it got me so bad. Okay, the middle of the ring. When the little AoEs come out, the middle of like I had to squint to tell is the middle being affected or because the colors kind of mesh together.
Yeah.
So it was like it's kind of hard to tell why the fuck am I taking it is. It
Yeah,
is.
all
So
of a
it-
sudden, yeah.
yeah. So
And speaking of which, what do you think of the new AoE indicators? These were strange to me because I've seen both the old AoE indicators and the new AoE indicators. There's new ones. At this, have you seen any of the new ones?
I'm running into someone's AoE right now. Come on. Come on. Nah, it's an old one.
So apparently the AoEs are broken up into tiers now, depending on their effect.
Depending on severity.
Severity, yeah. So the very severe ones take on it's less of a glowing. I'm fucking colorblind, so prepare to laugh at me. A glowing, like a bright green, which is like the old ones. That's how they look to me. It was like a bright green. What? Fuck you at this. What color was it?
We're talking about like enemy AoEs.
Yeah.
Yeah, orange. Aren't
Orange.
they?
orange.
No.
They're orange.
No, the new ones are orange. New ones are like
Oh,
more
God.
reddish.
So what we know is
Just
that the
change
new
the
ones
topic.
are definitely not orange.
Okay. No, the new ones are orange. Okay.
Okay.
I don't know. There's new AoE indicators. I don't know that this was necessary, but if they are truly tiered based on severity, which is the impression I got, because I saw one enemy have two different looking AoEs.
Yep.
I think
But you
that's
should be dodging all of them. Now people are just going to be like, all right, well, now I only have to dodge the severe ones.
yeah. So this is the one the
Orange
black
ones-
mage can
orange
stand
ones
in.
are the fucking healer's problem.
Yeah.
Like that shouldn't matter. It's like, oh, I got hit by that AoE. Oh, I didn't know it was going to kill me. Please, devs, can you make an extra AoE that tells me that it's going to fucking kill
Hey,
me?
as a black,
A different color. so to speak.
That's just pandering to lazy fucking.
No, it's pandering to black
Are they
mages.
easy to see for you, Happy? Are they easier for you to see the more severe ones?
Yes, when they're stacked on top of each other, they are.
All right, well, maybe they were going for a colorblind thing.
No, I think it was. They said they changed some of them to make the areas that they affect more clear. I don't know what that means. So,
but they did that in, what was it, 2.2? They changed them. They were quite a
2.1.
Red. No, I don't think it was 2.1. No, it wasn't 2.1 because I've got footage of 2.1 where they're still the old ones. I think it must have been 2.15 or 2.2. But they already changed them, and I don't have a problem with how they are now. I don't have a problem with them changing it again, but it just seems like it's just weird, isn't it?
It was weird for me because eventually they don't use the traditional colors anyway. They have the AoEs have their own like protean waves and stuff. They're their own thing. They don't even use the regular AoE indicators, so they're just making AoE indicators for everything. But Saint Mosion's, which dungeon do you think is faster? Do you think Saint Mosion's is faster, Sly, or do you think that Pharaoh Sirius is faster? I had this debate with a few people earlier.
Honestly, thought that we ran Pharaoh's a little bit faster than we did Saint Mosion.
You know what? It's really weird. I feel like Pharaoh's is the shorter dungeon. I feel like it took longer to run, though. And then again, I'm a ninja. My AoE is ass, so I don't fucking know. My AoE is ass as ninja. So
why did you hate Pharaoh's? What's wrong with Pharaoh's?
What's wrong with Pharaoh's?
So, okay, let me just say the highlight for Pharaoh's for me is the first boss. I think the first boss was good fun.
Yeah, it was fun. It was like the
Jailer
mechanics.
Fortitude was fun.
Yeah, the mechanics were very interesting for the first boss.
You know, it was interesting to me. All of his animations were ripped right from Final Fantasy XI because he's a boss that takes on a Hume in Final Fantasy XI, and he even uses the same weapon skill animation. I think it's even called Vorpal Blade. I don't even know. I thought that was pretty funny. But all those models were borrowed from Final Fantasy XI, from one of the endgame areas. The second boss was just that was where I lost it. So you had to kill slimes on top of vents. The problem was when the vents weren't covered, I didn't feel like they were doing anything in the first place. I couldn't tell what the actual vents on the ground were doing.
I thought they were just amping the boss.
That's the only thing I could think of, but like the damage was completely manageable. It was a little higher, but even then I was just like, what is the one thing that was annoying is the boss charging back and forth. He did a metric fuck ton of damage. Like if you had those things there, but it was just such a subtle mechanic. It felt like this is a mechanic I can see people in the Duty Finder their first time, like they'll just see it and think it's scenery.
Here's the parallel I drew from it, because at the end I felt like everything got crazy. There were a fuck ton of slimes. I just said fuck it, just DPS him down. Yeah. I felt like there was a Zerg boss in the original Pharaoh series.
Okay, he's nothing like the Zerg boss.
Okay, he's nothing like it, but at the same time, it's like just fucking DPS him down. He's not really a Zerg boss, but like in the end, when shit got a little bit too hairy, just DPS him down. Don't worry about the vents, everything. Just DPS him down.
I think what took the longest and what I liked least was the pull before the last boss. There's a bunch of walls that you have to protect from being knocked down. Mm-hmm. First of all, I don't know what happens if they knock the walls down.
Yeah, we didn't fail it, so I couldn't see what exactly the kind of penalty was for it.
But there was just fucking enemies all over the place, and they were dying slow because Ninja AoE is ass. So I don't know. It just felt like really all of a sudden like all over the place, but without any real reason to be all over the place, as opposed to, you know, this enemy's here, this enemy's here. It's nice that it wasn't just there's a pack here, pull that pack. There's a pack here, pull that pack. But it just felt like there was a lack of direction at some points in Pharaoh Sirius, and I don't mind lack of direction as long as it's facilitated well. I just didn't feel like Pharaoh's as a dungeon was put together quite the way it could have been. I'm glad we went to a new area, and I think the last boss was pretty funny. We're renaming the last boss, by the way, Bomb Cena. Because
Gosh, no.
Even though it's mom bomb, even though it's not a male bomb, it's mom bomb.
Mhm.
Somebody in my chat called her Bomb Cena, so her name is now officially Bomb Cena. So whenever she's about to charge up her AoE, just play the clip, and her name is Bomb Cena. Yep. Just when she bursts out. No, when she bursts out of the furnace the first time. That's where you do it. Like with Alexander when he's about to drop his hand for the first time, you just do turn down for what, and as soon as his hand hits the ground, that's the beat drop right there. That's exactly what you need to do. Overall, though, I'd say I like these dungeons better than Fractal Neverreap, but that could just be me being sick of Fractal Neverreap and being like,
I think that's a lot of people being sick of Fractal Neverreap. We're gonna probably get tired of this too. And again, we only have 2 dungeons.
Okay, so we have pros and cons now, though. I want Ethys' opinion on this first. Would you have rather have had 1 roulette with 4 dungeons, or 2 roulettes that both give esoterics and bonuses daily, but they're only 2 dungeons each? There's no just.
Definitely would have preferred one. One roulette.
Okay. I'm on the fence because I like the fact we have 2 roulettes, but I don't like the fact that Neverreap is in one of them. Because now, ultimately, I still have a 50% chance of getting Neverreap at the end of the day.
Well, the thing is, when we get our new dungeons, it usually doesn't take all that long to kind of feel nostalgic for the ones that we were sick of not a few weeks ago. You know what I mean? I feel like having a bigger pool would be better.
No one's gonna feel nostalgic for Neverreap. Sorry.
Give it a couple months.
You have memories. Just let me just remind you. Let me just remind you that Final Fantasy XI, I have nothing but poor memories of that game, and yet I still smile when I tell them.
So you think that the nostalgia is only there until you go back into the dungeon?
Pretty much.
I think it's there until
you never run like old dungeons from like 2.0, 2.1. You're like, yeah.
For shits and gigs, sure.
Sometimes it's nice, like I remember doing level 50 roulette. When I get Amdapor keep normal, I'm actually generally like happy that I got that. But that's because that dungeon's piss easy, not because I'm nostalgic about it.
Yeah, but we still had to slam the shit out of it for philosophy.
And Wanderer's Palace too. Like the very first dungeons, the problem was those dungeons were a lot less flashy. They were kind of just simple, run through them and done with them. Whereas Neverreap's bosses are pretty friggin' annoying. We were cheesing Amdapor Keep from week 1. Like, that's the problem.
Well, Amdapor Keep was cheesy, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was quite cheesy.
Yep.
All right, so, Sly, since you're the one who did them, what would you rate the new dungeons? Each of them on their own individual score.
Theros gets I'll give it an 8.5. I'll give it a decimal. I'll give it the decimal.
Oh, shit, a decimal.
Yeah.
8.5. Wow.
We're not integers anymore, baby.
Now, I actually still prefer old Pharaohs.
See, is that the nostalgia?
What? That's not really the nostalgia, though. It's just Pharaohs was, to me, one of the best dungeons.
Pharaohs, the original Pharaohs pre-nerf,
Yes.
was one of their best made dungeons, I agree.
Yeah.
The pre-nerf original Pharaohs. Not just because it was hard, but because it was moderately challenging without being over the top. Minus the first boss, which could be a pain.
St. Mocion's, I give a 6.
Really?
6.
See, I really like St. Mocion's.
Okay, here's the thing. Here's another thing that really got me about St. Mocion's. That music is too goddamn calm.
But see, I love that about Lost City. Like, Lost City is this
Lost City is amazing.
This destroyed civilization, and it's almost metaphorical and like.
I felt like that's gathering music to me. I'm like, what the fuck is up with this elephant?
Well, there's a lot of plants there.
You're giving it a 6 because you didn't like the soundtrack.
And
we IGN now, boys. Bad music, 6 out of 10. Got it.
You gotta have more than that. Come on,
it's not even that. It's just that fucking Belladonna, the Rose Garden. The Rose Garden felt simple. It was just it was just a marble. It was just another marble that had little marbles to me. It was a simple fight. The Queen Hawk, that actually was the most interesting out of the 3 fights to me, was the Queen Hawk.
See, I like Belladonna. See, Sly, I think this is the patch where Sly and I disagree the most on things. Because I've never disagreed with Sly more about dungeons before. Like, in these fucking dungeons. Like, I actually give Saints a 9. I loved Saint Mosion's Arboretum.
Wow.
I would very gladly run that dungeon. Like I remember the first time I did Never Reap, I was like, oh, okay. That was really fucking annoying, but okay. By the time I was done with Saint Mosion's, I was like, cool. I enjoyed that. Was fast. The bosses some were simple, some were more complex. Music's good, and the aesthetic was great.
What's the last dungeon that you felt that?
That's a tough one. I think it may have been, believe it or not, even though a lot of people hate the last boss, I loved Hullbreaker because it was just so vastly different and more interesting to me as a dungeon. Traps with, traps on the ground, avoidable mobs, felt more open, funnier bosses on top of funner bosses.
Okay.
That was the first dungeon where we were introduced to the verticality of like jumping down a cliff and being like, where do I go from here? Do I just jump?
Oh yeah, that's true.
So, and also the Kraken, the initial impression with the Kraken was it was quite a different fight. Obviously seeing him the second time, I didn't care.
Wait, did Sunken Temple come out before Hullbreaker?
Speaking of which, guys, so I don't know when they're fixing
question.
it. Sunken Temple's bugged right now. Don't do it.
Okay.
Karn hard mode is bugged right now.
Oh?
The ad that grabs you to do the AoE, it never lets go even if you kill it. You're permanently stunned.
What?
You can't, and unless the AoE's not strong enough to kill you to get you out of it. So you're stunned. That's it. You're done. And you're in combat, so you can't return, you can't teleport, you can't leave.
When the fuck did that happen?
Today. Oh, do you guys know about the manipulator bug? You can fluid aura the manipulator and knock him off his spawn point, and you can interrupt pentacles with it. There's a lot of bugs there's a lot of bugs right
that
now.
I've been hearing about today.
But the fluid aura of the manipulator is fucking hilarious. And the fact that you can use it to interrupt. So you guys were tired of him because he wasn't moving, right? There you go, move him. It was a buff. It was a buff. And then I give Pharos. I still give Pharos a 7.5. I really liked the first boss and the last boss, and I liked the first couple of trash pulls. I still love the music. I'll never stop loving Pharos' music, and I like that we started at the top. Now we're here at the bottom. It was kind of the opposite of the first one, so I appreciated the effort, and it was definitely nice to go back there.
Somebody brought up a good question about the music. If we killed the siren in the original Pharos, who the fuck is singing?
It's just background music. Sly, shut up.
It's me.
We don't actually hear that music in the game. That's for us as players.
But didn't you hear the siren in... That was the purpose of the
immersion.
They record, there's a boss with an attack called immersion, and the whole time I was like, no, you're ruining my immersion.
Do I dodge it?
No, I want the immersion. And it's funny because that's gonna be. I would ask Ethys what his score is, but he doesn't fucking know. So
no, I don't fucking know.
He doesn't know anything.
Well, here's the problem. You're gonna ask me my score for anything in this game. I force myself to love it. Like it's always gonna be like a 9 or a 10. I just can't. Like, such a bad person to ask for scores. When you were talking about Pharos, and now we're going from top to bottom, I thought you were gonna pull out a metaphor there for us. I thought you were going to make a link somewhere. No?
A lore link or a pun?
A pun, I suppose.
Well, I started from the bottom, now we're here. I did the opposite, started from the top, now we're here. That was the only thing I did.
Something like, it's a lighthouse and something about the bottom being kind of dark.
Dank? I'm not catching
As goes light.
So goes dankness.
Oh, come on.
I know what you mean by now. But the lighthouse, no one even uses it. It's got bad dudes in there.
But Yoshi was pulling that one out. He was like, "Oh yeah, the as goes light, so goes darkness." It's like not so much about the story; it's about all of the things that
Everything.
happen. It's sort of a metaphor for all the things in this patch being sort of inverted and tipped on their head.
Everything.
So
Everything.
for lighting.
Well, if we're going to talk about light, we might as well talk about darkness because the Void Arc is next, or the Dank Arc, as I've been calling it all day.
Oh, that segue! Damn.
Yes. Yeah, I had that planned. I knew you were going to go there, so I planned it like 5 minutes ago.
Oh,
just so you know.
IGN 10 out of 10.
Yeah, there we go. So the Void Arc is the new 24-man raid. When I use the term raid lightly, it is probably my favorite. I think I like the Void Arc more than all of Crystal Tower combined aesthetically.
Agreed. Well, aesthetically, yes, but I think more lore-wise, I liked it. I think it had better lore, better story than all of Crystal Tower.
Well, the thing is, a Crystal Tower could
Yes.
never have a good story because ultimately it was how did they take Final Fantasy III and put it into this game?
Yeah.
No matter
No.
what they did.
It had a good story.
They-
it had a good story.
they
It had
made
a
it its
decent
own
story
thing.
at the
story.
very
It had
end
a
of it.
decent story.
They made it its own thing, and they did a good job with that. But ultimately, every single point that it draws from Final Fantasy III as its inspiration. It felt as
Yeah,
inventive as it
yeah.
needed to be, but not as original because it wasn't.
Yeah, and I felt like it just hit us in the nostalgia, and that was it.
Yeah.
And you think this feels purely original?
Not
No.
pure. I mean, not purely original because there are
References.
references. We're getting
But it's
Yeah.
but it feels like it belongs in this world. Like this is a story that belongs to Eorzea. It doesn't feel like it. We go into it knowing that there's going to be references. Yeah, there's going to be some Final Fantasy fandom, but it is a story that belongs in Eorzea. It's not something that was dragged from another game and just kind of stuck in there with whatever Eorzean we could fit, like making the Crystal Tower Allegan, for example. But the Void Arc. So 4 bosses, like usual. Before we even talk about them, I got to say thank you, Square Enix, for making each boss drop 2 pieces of loot instead of 1. But it looks like the loot tables are random. I can't tell yet, but I've seen the same piece drop from multiple bosses in the same
Good.
run over and over again.
Good. That means people aren't gonna quit as soon as they get their drop.
Well, it just means they might get it on the first boss instead of having to go all the way through to the last.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Oh, yeah, I suppose that's true.
Yeah. But it was a lot better. The dungeon was paced well. The trash was more interesting, I felt. The bosses, though, I don't know that they were trying outside of the second and third boss. They tried a little. The fourth boss and the first boss, though, they just said, "Here's a giant trash mob. Kill it, however long it takes." That manta ray. I don't know. The manta ray was like, I was like, why is this a boss?
Whoa. So you're saying you said they tried a little with the second and third boss,
The second boss was probably the most interesting boss.
Erminasul and Sawtooth.
Yeah, Ermisil and Sawtooth were probably. From a lore perspective, the third boss is probably going to be pretty interesting.
Yeah.
From a mechanical perspective, it was more of a, are you paying attention? Good. All right, there we go. Which is, it's not like the 24-mans have ever been more than that, but these felt less inspired and less interesting to me overall than the World of Darkness bosses.
So what you're saying is, as a raid, story wise, it was all there, but
All there.
mechanics and dungeon wise, it just didn't seem.
It felt like we went back to somewhere between Labyrinth of the Ancients and Circus Tower in terms of what it was like getting through it. Like, it was great to run through it because there was fucking just long stretches of no enemies where you can see things happening.
Mhm.
And that's cool. But the bosses were so boring.
So less challenging than Alex normal?
I guess it
Because
depends.
I think
'cause
that's a big question.
the big question to me is, what's it like having 7 people that have no idea what they're doing versus 23 people that have no idea what they're doing? Yeah. Sometimes that can make these bosses look harder. Just from a pure human error perspective.
Okay.
I think the manipulator's still harder. the regular manipulator is still harder, but the rest of them are probably about
Alright.
even. I'd say about even with Alexander Normal.
Do you think it's going to scratch the itch? Do you think it's going to keep casual players interested over the length of the patch?
Solely for the reason of Gobcoat and Gobplun.
Yeah, that was probably the thing.
Yeah, but are
did
they going to be
best.
going, oh, I have to go in and do it again, or are they still going to be engaging with it?
Well, that's the thing. For your actual loot, you have to run it how many times. But you can just run it once a week and guarantee yourself the coat or the twine, because the final boss drops an item that you trade in for either a coat or a twine.
Mm-hmm.
And it just drops to everyone. I'm saying it dropped all 24 people get this completion item, and they can just go hand it in for a coat or a twine. So there are people who will probably just run it once for the 210 upgrades to get all their stuff while ignoring the 200 stuff. And there's going to be people who run it because they want the glamour or they want to gear alternate jobs. I think it will ultimately collect the itch. I will say, though, I kind of got lucky. And I have it done on both characters for the week. So,
Shit, that was quick.
yeah. Well, I mean, the second one was weird because I saw...
And you still haven't done your story.
No, I still haven't done the main story. But the second time I did it was really weird because there was a monk in the group that was like very low geared. And I was like, all right, the monk doesn't have a lot of gear. He'll probably take this body piece. And he types, fuck you, happy, leaves, and I get the body piece. So... That's how I got my monk body from...
What? Did he think that you were going to steal it from him?
I could only greet it. He could need it. I couldn't need it. That was I was on Bard. He was on Monk. He just said, fuck you, happy, left. And I got it.
What?
I was like, all right, I'll probably just have to run this again tomorrow or something. Oh, okay.
Yeah, that just seems...
What?
Okay.
All right, thanks for the body piece. That was great. Done for the week. Thank you.
Fuck you. Thanks.
Fuck you, happy.
I never thought I'd say thank you to that. Because
Yeah.
I got a body piece out
That
of
just
it.
doesn't seem like the proper reaction to it.
Maybe he had an SO body. I don't know.
hilarious.
I don't know.
Oh, that's fantastic.
But Void Arc overall, I think it fits the Duty Finder very well. I think that it's probably the highest success rate of everything. Every Crystal Tower raid and Void Arc, it probably is going to have the highest success rate for people going in the first time.
Really?
Yeah. Because you don't have stupid shit like Bone Dragon and Atamos and...
I suppose that makes sense.
Yeah. But
Because it
Poison
needs to be a
Room?
thing for like new players as well, right? Like Labyrinth of the Ancients, and then you had Crystal Tower, sort of a step up. World of Darkness was sort of a step up. Whereas a lot of people coming into Void Arc have never done those, right? Can
Right.
you assume that?
Right.
Yeah.
So it's another place to sort of learn your job, I guess.
I mean, essentially, the first time I ran it, with each step, it was probably, wipe once, learn from it, come back, clear it,
Yeah.
it's rather repeat.
It was easy to tell where the fault was, so much so to the
Mhm.
point where even the players that didn't seem like they cared were able to,
Kinda
just take an
pick it up.
experience once and just, learn from it. And also the trash pull between the first and the second boss, that was probably the hardest part of the entire dungeon to get people.
The
Get their
poison
people-
room?
The poison room.
Yeah.
So many people like, hey, kill the pods.
No, so many people, I think our first run, so many people just stayed at the start.
Yeah.
They saw the marble, stayed at the start. Like, you do realize there are two other pods.
Yeah.
And somebody even, I think somebody who actually did it, before, politely put A, B, and C, and everybody was still at A. I was like,
Yeah.
and I was the only asshole to run towards B because I was in Alliance B. I was like, where the fuck is everybody? Smack.
And I'm just glad someone brings this up. I'm so glad that we don't have okay, so sort of glad, sort of not. So we've had 1 tank, 2 healer, 5 DPS, and Circus Tower at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Tanks are not happy. Tanks don't want to have to be lazy in a dungeon, but their queues are shit.
Yeah,
as hell right now.
I've been getting a lot of complaints from tanks about the queues.
Really?
45-minute wait time in queue. Should I do something else, Sly?
I got in with a group of 8 immediately within 5 seconds. Went in with a healer and got in within 5 seconds. I'm afraid to go in with a tank because there's only 3 tank slots and tanking has become a bit more popular in this patch. It's causing long tank queues because there's only 3 slots available.
Yeah.
So I'm curious. I mean, the same problem happened with World of Darkness. I remember tanks were complaining back then, but it wasn't 40 minutes. It was 15 minutes. But since Dank Knight's out, people are like tanks a lot.
So welcome the DPS queues, tanks.
You're welcome.
Deal with it.
I think it's a bit early to say. I mean, a lot of people still got to unlock it. I wouldn't call sort of the first day at all representative of what the experience for tanks is going to be like. If they're still complaining in like a week or two, then
it was weird because I remember World of Darkness, tanks had good queues for a pretty long time, and then eventually it fell to the wayside, probably because everyone was like, I want tank queue. All right, never mind, tank queue sucks. And then it went back and forth. I don't know. But okay, Sly, since I know, I don't get to ask Ethys any of these questions. Sly, what would you rate Void Ark?
Solid 8.
Solid 8. I would give it the same score.
Yeah.
ooh,
I think the lore.
I can read the story.
I believe the story is going to be phenomenal.
Yes.
I think the bosses are far more visually appealing than any of the bosses we got back in any of the Crystal Tower raids. And I'm infinitely more interested in the Void Ark. I just ultimately feel the bosses were a bit unimaginative.
Yeah, I can.
In terms of mechanics.
Yeah, in terms of mechanics, I can agree with you there. Yeah, I'm actually interested to see the story not only on the Miyachi side, but the Sky Pirate side as well, because like both are really interesting. Especially, like I think I'm drawing more to the Sky Pirate side than I am the whole Void Diablo side.
I'm stopping them from saying so much right now, guys.
Yes.
Lore-wise, you have no idea. Ethys has a connection he wants to talk about in depth that you're going to have to look out for on his YouTube channel.
So much.
Yes.
I got so much for it.
All I agreed that he could talk about was that it had to do with the third boss.
Yeah, it has to do with the third boss and a previous boss that we've seen and another name that's in there somewhere and something we've seen in some artwork somewhere. I've put all those things together and I'm pretty sure I know what the next.
You got it figured out.
He's got it figured out.
So look forward to that.
Illuminati confirmed. Got it.
Can you say, Sly, without spoiling, why you find the Sky Pirates more interesting? Is it just because they're pirates and Sky Pirates?
Not really that.
I mean, Sky Pirates are pretty cool.
They are.
I mean, the Void thing's kind of played out. Like we've already been there, We got enough edgelords already.
I thought it was interesting that the missing boss from World of Darkness they used for the Void Ark. Because in Final Fantasy III, Echidna was one of the 4 guardians in the World of Darkness. And because they could only use, I'd say they only used 3 guardians in World of Darkness before Cloud of Darkness. Echidna was the missing 4th. Just thought that was interesting, Void-wise. Or Dankness-wise.
Why did they make Echidna the last one?
I don't know, but she's got dad ass.
She's a Naga.
So? Have you seen that character model?
Hey, says the one that wants a bust of Garuda in his house.
Yeah, what the hell, Sly?
Like, what's wrong with Nagas, dude? You're fine with like bird people, but not Nagas?
Hey,
huh?
Those bird tits were OP. I'm just saying.
You some kind of furry racist?
First of all, he would be in favor of the furries. He wouldn't be furry racist. He would be racist against scales.
Does that still count as furries? I mean, isn't that like a blanket category?
No.
They're completely different things.
No.
They're completely different things.
All right.
They don't even have lower halves, really. That's probably why my man here, he's all about them hips. So
So Sly, if you could choose between woman top half, snake bottom half, or woman bottom half, snake top half, would you choose the bottom half?
Yeah, I'd choose the bottom half.
You choose the bottom half, like a snake from the waist up.
No, I choose the snake from the waist down.
You choose a snake from the waist
Okay,
down.
yeah, that's not what you said though. So
that's not what you said. Oh my God, that's so funny.
because I just imagine like a rattlesnake, but without the rattler, just the top half, just the.
I was just imagining like a mermaid, except like upside down. It's just got like a big fish body with like human legs. Slides like.
I feel like I've seen that in an episode of SpongeBob.
So like,
Yeah.
Okay, so the next thing on the list, Thordan Extreme.
Yeah, let's get
Sing,
away from
AKA the Minstrel's Ballad, Thordan's Reign, AKA Singularity Reactor Hard, AKA Singularity Reactor Extreme, because they couldn't fucking decide what to call it. All of those names apply. I don't have to ask Ethys. So Slyh, did you did you try the fight?
I did.
How'd you do?
Roughly around 20-25%.
From the boss's HP at the start, or like the whole fight?
Yeah, like the first group. Surprisingly, we got farther in I got farther in like a later group, but the DPS wasn't there. We actually DPS Thordan down to about 76-ish before he went and did his own thing, and then all the other knights came out. But yeah.
So you've barely seen any of the fight.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're gonna like the rest of that fight.
I bet I am.
That's a fun fight, especially because these are I-205 weapons. We were speculating on that for a while. They did end up being 205.
Oh, and we forgot to say for the dungeons that they were 185.
They were 185. So what you're saying is all my predictions were correct. Just want to hear you say
predicted
it.
205 though, didn't you?
Yeah, I did predict 205.
No,
I mean,
but for
you
the
should-
dungeons, 185.
For the dungeons, yeah, he's right about that.
Yeah. Just wanted to hear you say it. Just wanted to hear it out loud. I'm gonna put that in my. I'm gonna keep that in my heart. Okay.
You'll have it on YouTube too. So
Yeah, I will. We'll all have it. We'll all share this moment together.
Yeah.
This is probably the hardest Extreme Primal they've made.
Good. I was hoping so.
I say that because it is very mechanically heavy. Sly, you haven't beat the fight yet. Don't give me that. Yeah, I don't know.
Is the comparison in difficulty they were making in the last live letter to turn 9, is that fair?
I feel like the mechanics are make it kind of fair. Because one thing I feel like that wasn't so much it's similar in difficulty to turn 9, more so it's a reminiscent fight of turn 9 where it's like, oh,
Okay.
you have X, Y, and Z all happening at the same time. Deal with it. You know.
They were also saying that there's going to be that the DPS check is subsequently going to be fairly low. Do you think that the majority of the player base will agree that the DPS check is low?
Nope. I do not think they will agree. I do not think they will agree. I think a lot of groups will get to Sacred Cross, and I think a lot of groups will get to the Comet Circles, and immediately disagree with that. It's not a hard DPS check. It is a, hey, it's not a, you have to beat the fight in this time, therefore all of your actions need to be precise. It's, right now, you better fucking kill this, because otherwise, you're gonna die. Think of it like Hand of Pain on a lesser scale.
And see the thing.
Well, I guess
the thing,
any DPS check is a hard DPS check for some people.
Yeah.
And the thing about a DPS check is, with this, I really don't feel like it's a DPS check. It's more of like, hell, if we keep everybody alive, we'll probably meet the fucking check. Because I don't like in each of the groups, I don't think DPS was really a problem. We could have probably like beat the DPS check. It's just the mechanics in between is what's killing everybody. When you have no tank to tank the other knight to kind of separate them, and when you have really not a lot of DPS left because they couldn't
Dodge mechanic either.
Yeah, you're not.
So like you were pugging it, right?
Yes.
So when you go in with your static, how long do you think it'll take for you to clear it, have it down and farmed?
Probably not that long. Probably I'd say
A couple of hours, couple of nights.
I'd say a raid night, which is like 2 hours.
One raid night. Okay.
Yeah.
And to sort of compare what part of floor 3 you want at the moment? Where are you hitting there?
Hand.
Okay.
Not
All
Hand
right.
of Pain, like the actual grabby hand.
He means Cascade 2.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I guess that gives the people in the chat some sort of idea where they might be, how they might find it. So do you think that the way they were talking about this being like good mid-core content for people who are stuck on floor 3, how much do you think you're going to get out of it?
I think it's a refresher. I really think it's a refresher. Whereas A3 for a lot of people is just bang head here 100 times per night.
Mm-hmm.
Rinse and repeat every raid night. Whereas
So it's going to be like an ego boost.
Yeah, it's actually going to be a pretty...
You can't kill something.
You can kill something that's really challenging. You can do this.
Mm-hmm.
You can do this. I promise you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's just that. It's really an ego boost, and it like I like the difficulty. I think I can agree with what they said that anyone who's cleared Savage period will be able to handle this. Thus, happy cleared. Yeah, so people who are stuck on A3, it'll provide some challenges. It's providing some challenges for me. I mean, then again, I went in with pug groups. But I think in one raid night we can clear it.
Okay.
I think for statics,
so we've got that on paper.
Oh, I'm going to write it down for this for sure.
Go ahead.
I think for raid groups that have beaten A1 and A2, they'll find this to be slightly more difficult. The actual stepping stone between 2 and 3.
Okay.
So
a
you
lot
think
of people
this
were complaining there was a big jump there, wasn't there?
Yeah. So you think this
Okay.
is where they should have put? This is what they should have put.
This is A2 and a half.
A2 and a half. Yeah, pretty much.
And I agree with a statement in the chat. It does have more mechanics, but they're all mechanics you're so familiar with.
Yeah, everything. I feel like they've thrown everything that we've all not really everything from just 3.0, but everything from T9. So as far as what I can see, T9, T13, shit you've seen from the vault, other bosses, like it's just a lot of stuff we've seen.
I just think it's more important, and again, somebody points this out in the chat, to take away not the weapon but the experience of beating this fight.
Mm-hmm.
Because it is not very DPS heavy, which may give people the false impression that they are all set for A3. We beat this, we're all set for A3. It's a lot more forgiving in a sense. You can stop DPSing to do mechanics and still destroy the DPS checks if you know what you're doing. Example, we had never used a DPS LB in our clear. We only used the healer LB3 because the mechanics were so fucking annoying. We were sacking people to them. It's that annoying. It's really fucking... It's not undoable. It's just so annoying. It's like, just, you go die over there. You fucking go die over there. If anybody more than that guy dies, we're healer LB3. Pretty much. And that's going to be what I recommend. I'm seriously going to recommend people sacrifice people to a mechanic.
Wasn't that like Ravana for a while? For a minute there? That's
people just sacrifice 2 people when you got the final liberation. Because they were like, fuck it. Nobody does this shit right. It kills more people. Just kill them. Just let them die. Let them take the buff a second time and just draw it away from the group. It's better that they die than we fuck up trying to do the mechanic properly. I have a feeling that's going to be a big thing here. People are going to sacrifice people to mechanics.
So you say take away the experience rather than the weapon. Are there mechanics in Thordan that are reminiscent of or sort of translate to floor 3?
I don't think there's too much that translate floor 3 other than identifying a tether target, perhaps, and moving out AoEs, like, fast.
Right. So how much are you really taking away from it? Is it literally just a psychological thing to get over like that?
It's a psychological thing. Just don't think that I have these weapons, bam, I'm good to go for 3 and 4. Look at that fight. Okay. Look at how to approach it. Look at how you learned it, and then take that knowledge and apply it to the next fight. It is a step in between 2 and 3. Treat it like a step in between 2 and 3.
Psych training, basically.
Okay. That being said, I think it is the best extreme primal they've made, by far. Mostly because it is a combination of most of the fights in the game up to that point, but in an interesting fashion. One of my favorites by far. I think this is worthy of the title extreme. Like Leviathan and Shiva, I do not feel were worthy of the title extreme. They were harder.
What about Ramu?
Ramu, for me, I fucking think Ramu's a snore fest. I used to go tank on that fight.
I agree with that.
I would go tank on that fight and be like, so I just have to grab 3 orbs every 40 seconds. Good fucking job, guys. We win. Like, that was how that fight was for me. It was just, I can only stand on the inner circle. Okay, fantastic.
Okay. So this kind of begs the question in terms of well, not just primals themselves, but primals and EXs from here on in, do you think there will actually be some kind of, progression from here on in? Because, well, the last primal we had was what? Ravana? And this is legitimately difficult. Like, in 3.0, there is an actual primal progression. Bismarck's easy. Ravana's slightly more difficult, and then this is more difficult than Ravana. So we're actually seeing a primal progression, whereas in 2.0,
it was all over the place.
It was all over the fucking place, and you didn't know what you were gonna get.
In 2.0, we kind of had that for the first 3, and then people started complaining that it was
Really?
too difficult, and that's why I ended it up all over.
Well,
the
no,
place.
I think he's referring. A lot of people got past Garuda, got stuck on Titan, then demolished Ifrit.
Yeah, that's what it was. And then what was it? Mughal
Mughal, everyone hated, but Leviathan, most people blew through. And then you had Ramuh, everyone got stuck on, but people had no issue with Shiva.
Yeah.
But I don't think... here's the thing. I have that feeling about all raids. You can never look at it, it's the second one, therefore, it's a continuation of the one before it, therefore it is more difficult, because that was true maybe with first coil to second coil, but it didn't show from second to third. And not every raid that comes... Like, that's like assuming then Alexander that they all have to keep getting harder and harder. They just have to be different. So,
do you think that they should be harder? Would you prefer them to be harder?
If they,
I mean, there's always that thing that, like, particularly for us as raiders, we want things that kind of push us to be better players. And if we get a content patch like we did with Final Coil that is in many ways less difficult than what we were doing before, it's kind of a little bit, you're just like, oh, what do I do now?
I'll put it in this perspective. We want challenging content, but at the same time, we want it to be fun. Hell,
Knights is fun.
Knights is fun. I'll give you that. But in comparison to A3, what did we go back and do? And albeit we did this unsynced, and it was still fun. I mean, it was slightly difficult. It's not going to be as difficult because you're doing unsynced, but like second coil extreme, not extreme, savage. Excuse me. Thank you.
Yeah, you didn't find that fun?
I found it fun. We found that fun. That shit was actually fun to do. Just trying to figure it out, working it out through your with everyone there, clearing it. That's fun. That's fun. It's challenging yet fun. A3 is just punishing.
Really?
I fucking love A3.
Because I agree that it's a fucking nightmare, but I've never had so much fun raiding.
I think A3 Savage is their best fight ever made, bottom line.
Yeah, I agree. I absolutely 100% agree
I
with
think
that.
That's what
I'm saying. I don't think that difficulty and enjoyment are like mutually exclusive things. I think you can have a fight that you will absolutely want to tear your dick off doing and still really enjoy it and find it fulfilling.
Now,
or maybe I'm just a masochist. I don't know.
Don't get it twisted. I don't want them to nerf this. I don't want them to nerf this.
No, I know that's not what you're saying. I know that's not what you're saying.
Yeah, I want to actually legitimately clear this fight, clear A4. Say we did it pre any nerfs if there.
But it's about the ends justifying the means for you. Like you're not enjoying it now. You're just going to have thought it a valuable experience when.
And it's not even that I'm trying doing this, just for gear. I mean, the gear's good. A lot of us are doing this mainly because of the challenge. You're probably there for the gear.
Going back to our savage discussion. Sorry.
That's fine. It has to do with Knights of the Round and where it stands in terms of.
Yeah.
But a lot of us are doing this just I would say just for the thrill. We like the difficulty. We like a challenge. Therefore, we're going to take this challenge. And it's going to beat our ass over and over and over again. But we still like it because of the challenge. It's pretty much the same. It's pretty much the same with Thordan, even though it's a little less difficult.
I think if I had to put
like a micro version of it.
Yeah.
If I had to put my order of my favorite fights, it would be A3 Savage, followed by turn 9 Savage, followed by turn 9 itself, followed by Knights of the Round.
Wow.
That's where I would put it. I honestly, Knights of the Round I think might even be more fun than turn 9. I haven't
Oh,
done
I'm
it
really
enough.
excited now.
I haven't. You know what the problem is? We beat.
I love turn 9.
The problem is that we went in with 2 10 weapons. So even if we drew this comparison to turn 9, it being equivalent, I didn't get to experience it from the level of, well, I'm still working on gearing up this patch, and I need to clear the fight. It's, all right, well, I have all the gear, so let's go fucking destroy King Thordan in a couple hours. You know?
Yeah, but you're not that far ahead of the people it's being targeted at. People that are on A3
having a 210 weapon
sort of
going
205,
having that 210 weapon is a
206.
pretty big deal going into that.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah, I suppose that's true. That's a good point.
And on top of that, let's just say this: we had so much DPS, we skipped 2 phases. The 10 phase fight, he died on his 8th phase. After the 10th phase,
Shit.
I believe it's over. You're dead if you don't kill him by the end of the 10th phase. But it's like, and I'm talking about like people dying left and right. Like the dragon died in the first phase. The whatever people dying. And we having to use a healer LB3 and like a completely
pretty
sloppy
forgiving.
fight. So I think it's pretty forgiving. I think it's not forgiving to the point where there's a 400 damage DPS that's going to clear the fight, but it's a fairly forgiving fight. Ultimately, I loved it. I loved the mix of the mechanics. I give the fight a 10 out of 10. It's a high note for me. I don't think we'll ever get another Extreme Primal like it, and if it is, it has to be exactly like it, or it just won't compare.
I can't rate it just yet.
Yeah. And also,
that's fair.
going forward, I think every other Primal will reward a weapon in between in between Tomestones and Savage. I'm going to lay my prediction on the table here. Next Primal drops I-220 weapons. Next Tomestones are I-230 weapons. Savage upgrades to I-240. 2 Primals from now, I-235 weapon. I'm putting my prediction on the table right now.
I'd second that. I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah, I can't really disagree with that.
Main reason: Bismarck I-175, Ravana I-190, Thordan I-205, 15 item levels each time. At this point, it's consistent enough for me to think it's a pattern. And Square Enix, they love their patterns. They love their patterns.
They love their circles.
There's a lot of circles in this. More circles than any other fight. Lot of circles.
Fucking Circle Enix.
Circle Enix. The irony. So, next on the list, the Diadem. Which I wish I could call the Diadem, but I have been educated that it is the Diadem. I hate that name. I now hate the name of this place because it doesn't sound right to me.
Doesn't sound right to you.
Yeah. Diadem flows off the tongue. It's like, oh yeah, the Diadem. Whereas it's like when I say, oh yeah, the Diadem, it's like...
It's just that lazy Joyzy.
Maybe. What do you fucking know, eh? All right.
What do you know about the fucking Diadem?
Don't do that. That was bad.
No.
Don't do
It's
that.
almost as bad as you're Australian, isn't it?
No, if you're an Australian who immigrated to New York and you've been there about 18 months, that's about what you sounded. Trying to pick it up.
All right.
That's not a good thing. That's the awkward in between period where you haven't quite adopted it yet, but it's getting to you.
I'll fucking take it.
All right. The Diadem was quite interesting, I have to say. I learned a lot about that zone, and that zone, A, is fucking huge, and B, has a lot of shit going on for only 9 parties, and is dangerous as fuck for gatherers. Sly?
Okay, let me start off with the actual size of the zone. And I like that it's a large zone, but what really trips me is, all right, take for instance, compare the Diadem to Kurthus Western. If you were just to go straight up, like straight vertical from where you're standing, where your chocobo is, or whatever flying mount you're on, you would stop really fucking quick. You would hit the ceiling really fucking quick. It doesn't feel like there's a fucking ceiling to hit in this zone. Like there's more verticality to like a lot of these places, and you have to do a lot of up and down to get everywhere. And I think that was kind of
Clouds is like that.
Sea of Clouds isn't that bad.
Really,
Like,
it's worse than the Sea of Clouds.
It's worse than Sea of Clouds.
I think
what
it
do you think
feels
happened?
worse because there's less islands. The islands are not very grouped together. They are
Right.
quite
Yeah,
far
they're
apart.
spread out, but at the same time,
So it feels kind of empty, does it?
yeah, they're spread out, but some of them are stacked on top of each other. But you have to like climb a considerable amount to get to that next island that's, stacked. And the map doesn't really do a good job of telling you like what's up, what's down. I mean, you have to zoom in on your map to see exactly what is what. But yeah, that's the one thing that really tripped me out about the Diadem was the verticality of every place. Like smaller islands that really didn't have much were just so high up for no damn reason. And then most of the larger islands were low. Some of the larger islands were really, really high. And the gathering thing. Okay. I get what everybody's saying. All right. Basically, we had this conversation before the show started.
Yeah, we did.
We had this conversation. A lot of people in my chat were saying the same thing. Y'all were.
Maybe you should listen to us in your
I
chat
don't
and
know.
everyone else that thinks you're an idiot.
No, fuck it. We wouldn't have stealth for no goddamn reason. Like, in
Hey, Sly. Did you find any gob walkers up there?
No.
Should have found me then. I was flying around on mine.
But see, here's the thing about like most of the nodes there. Like for example, I was doing mine. Like most of the nodes are stuck right next to an enemy. Like an enemy is in spitting distance of a node. If you can kind of like, you would have to actually like just kind of inch your way towards the node and just hope and pray that you're not in aggro distance.
Or that it doesn't turn around.
Yeah, or that it doesn't turn around. If it turns around, hurry up, get your shit and leave.
It will one-shot you.
Yeah, and that's the thing. A lot of times what a lot of parties are gonna end up doing is completing the objectives. Make sure you can complete the objectives because I don't know what happens if you don't.
So if you don't, completing the objectives nets you, I believe, a certain amount of SO at the end. You get you just get SO as soon as you complete the third objective.
Okay.
You don't have to do it if you don't need SO. There's no point in doing the objectives.
Still free SOs.
Yeah.
So after everybody completes the objectives, I feel like people go about their own way. Now I went in with a duty finder party, and it might be different for an FC, but a lot of duty finder parties, and maybe a few FCs, after you clear those objectives, people are gonna go their own ways. And for instance, the caves, you can fly anywhere but the caves. Once you try to put a flying mount in a cave, it sits you right down. Now, if everybody's already, if you have a few of your party in there, and you're by yourself, even as a battle class, well, maybe as a tank, you'll probably get right back in and join up with friends. But as any other battle class, and hell, like any other battle class or any other disciple of the land, you're not getting back in there. Those enemies are usually they have fucking bouncers in those fucking caves. They're right there, and they will one shot. The fucking thank you. That fucking crab. Like you try to even get back in or just run past it, it's a one shot. And if he doesn't get you, the two other crabs behind him will.
That's what we wanted, though. Isn't that great? That you sort of feel like you're actually under pressure and you feel like, there's some danger, there's some risk, rather than just being like, I can just stealth it, whatever, fuck it.
No, it just feels like, I want to get back to my friends. Crabs like.
Well, your friends shouldn't have left you in the first place. Are they really even your
name on the list? The crabs like your name on the list.
Your friends are.
Okay, what I want to actually talk about the Diadem is, fuck it, I'm just calling it the Diadem. I don't care. The Notorious Monsters. We discussed, and Sly said it's gonna be a shit show. Everyone's just gonna claim shit and not tell anyone. It seems that they realized that would be an issue, and they said, nope, that's not how it's gonna be here. And they basically did the hunts the correct way. There's objectives you can do to spawn fresh marks, and the fresh mark spawns a Notorious Monster. You will only benefit from more people coming to your Notorious Monster, because everyone doing damage is getting credit. Now, that's not to say you should sit there and wait for everyone to get there,
right.
But the monsters have so much health, someone can fly from the opposite side of the zone and get there before there's a remote chance that thing dies.
Now, in terms of the drops, yeah, people are still going to claim their own shit. Like, no. FCs don't have this mindset, but duty finders will. I'm going off of the duty finder experience. It's basically, it's greed only. So the mindset of everybody is, greed. You might as well greed on it. You can trade it in for, whatchamacallit, not seals. What are they called? The currency.
Spoils,
thank you.
There you go.
Yeah, you can trade, like, greed on everything. Even if it's not yours, you can trade it in for spoils. Which is such a bad, it sounds so wrong, in all honesty.
It's definitely going to be rough for people in the duty finder.
Yeah.
That's kind of the point, isn't it?
Yeah.
That it's easier if you have your own company, your own airship or whatever. I think that if you made it sort of a one-to-one experience and people would be like, why did I build this airship and level it up? You know what I mean?
Honestly,
I think it's fair that there's a bonus there.
Honestly, what's going to be interesting to me is...
Do you feel like it's a penalty, though?
I don't necessarily think it's a penalty. I think it's just a boost for a free company. Like, it's a benefit for being a member of a free company. That being said, Elysium screwed up and we can't go into hard mode for another 2 days.
Wow.
Because you need to unlock it.
You fucking what?
You need to unlock it via voyages first.
Oh.
And so our voyage didn't go to the right place, and some people have done hard mode, some people haven't. But some of those notorious monsters, so the enemies themselves aren't really all that challenging in terms of mechanics. What they'll usually do is they'll start very basic and they'll move into a rotation, and depending on the boss, that rotation can either absolutely demolish you if you're not careful, or it could just be a little bit of damage. I think the Brachiosaur is currently the best example of an enemy that will fuck you sideways if you take it too lightly.
Yeah.
It is definitely inspired from the earlier Final Fantasies. It has Meteor, which is guaranteed to do, before mitigations, 90% of your health. If you can mitigate it, you can mitigate it, but if it's unmitigated, it will do 90% of your max health. Then he picks people to spam AoEs on, and then he cleaves a tank for like 7k. And then he does this random bullshit where he blinds you, and it's like minus 500 accuracy. Like, I missed like 10 global cooldowns in a row on him. Paralyzes, slows. He's so annoying. But that's all he does. He just rotates between Meteor, Cleave, AoE, annoying, Meteor. Like, it's
just kind of sounds like a Final Fantasy XI boss, doesn't it?
Well, even Final Fantasy XI boss is somewhat random. Like, it was like, I have enough TP. What the fuck do I want to do? Sure, this ability 8 times in a row, RNG. But ultimately, the zone has a structure to it, and people will, I believe, soon find an optimal 210 farming route. Because what you can do is you can go to an area, identify whether or not the notorious monster is capable of spawning by killing some enemies in the area and looking for messages. And if you get a good message, you can keep killing until it spawns, and then shout to the entire zone, hey, we spawned this, get over here. Or you can, there are things like you can touch a buried coffer for extra benefits. There's red script materials there. There's clusters there. There's new gathering material. There's new, recipe items there. I think ultimately, a zone does what it tries to do. It gets you farming with people to try and get loot. Assuming you can get in with people who don't just run away all over the place.
Yeah, and like I was saying, I think you'll probably get that experience in the duty finder rather than an FC experience, even though I think a lot of people will kind of maybe venture out and explore a little bit. Now, an idea that I really thought should have been in place, and it's kind of tough to do, but the Diadem, it's one map, it's one central map. I was kind of thinking and hoping that this would be like a random generated map every single time. Fine.
Just the start point is random.
Yeah.
Between like 3 or 4 start points.
Yeah, just the start point's random. It's just that's it. It's still the same map.
Yeah.
So
What's interesting though is if you go in with an alliance, you'll likely be separated at the entrance, even though you technically went in as a group of 24. You'll be separated into 3 sets of 8, and you may not end up in the same zone until you get your ether currents. Yeah. So it requires the exploration part at the beginning. Most people just run past the mobs, get the ether currents, because you can drop aggro by changing to another island, and then you fly around, gather, and then occasionally get together and try to spawn a boss. Usually you kind of set those things aside. It seems it's going to be the way to go. And if you do it right, you should actually, even on easy and normal, be able to get a fair amount of 210. Based on the paths that I've already started looking at, based on where Brachiosaur spawns and Basilosaur spawns are.
So what would you say is par for the course in terms of getting 210s?
If you're brand new in there, you'll probably get 2 or 3. If you have no idea what you're doing, your odds are you'll get 2 or 3. I'm talking about golds. Silvers and bronze, you probably get whatever. If you know what you're doing, you could probably get upwards, even on easy and normal, to like 10, 11 golds. That's with zone cooperation, though. Like, that's as a party of 8, that won't happen. As a bunch of people running around the zone doing it collectively, or even just you spawning and then communicating to the zone, you should be able to farm pretty adequately. But that's not 10 or 11 per person. That's 10 or 11 to split between all 8 people. And even then, I've seen some complete garbage stats, and I've seen some fucking amazing stats on these items thus far. Like, I saw an I-210 piece that had, like, 36 determination and, like, 25 crit. And then I've seen ones that have, like, the god tier stats that are, like...
Jeez. So a lot of people are saying that that's kind of bullshit. That's like unfair somehow that there's so much 210 stuff dropping here.
It's not.
Do you think that's reasonable? You don't think it's unfair?
Because
it's random enough?
36 fucking determination and 25
that's
crit?
bullshit. But that's not like an outlier. That's pretty sort of standard.
That's pretty standard.
Shit like that. Okay.
It's pretty much, it's going to be one of those situations where people post on Reddit, yo, you'll never believe what I got. And it's just one of those god pieces. And it's, because you also have to remember the appearance is random, which I want to touch on really quick as well. So like we were seeing like Diable Daystar stuff, for example, like leg pieces. We saw the PvP Dragoon legs drop as one of the appearances. So there's quite a variance there. I will say though, they screwed up one thing about the armor. You can't glamour it. You have to wear it outright. Because it comes pre-glamored. And you can't glamour something that... You can't glamour an item that is glamoring an item.
That's interesting.
So you have to wear the pink gear in order to get the appearance from it.
So what if somebody gets a complete set from the Diadem? They're going to be mismatched as fuck.
Yeah, they're going to be mismatched, and that's the hilarious part. They're going to be wearing fucking...
They're going to have godly stats, but they'll be mismatched as fuck. They'll just look so ass backwards.
That's awesome, though. Then you're like really sort of RPing the Sky Pirate. You're like, look at all this shit I found.
See, there you go. Somebody got a Dreadworm body that was like dyed or something.
Like a Dreadworm body? Jeez, that's hilarious. Do you think we'll be getting a situation? So if we can get like 25 or 30 debt on pieces, do you think we'll be getting a situation where some players that don't really understand secondary stats are going to be in like full 210 but doing...
People are going to cheese item level.
700, 600 DPS.
People are going to cheese item level requirements using this gear.
More than that, like, is it possible for these 210 pieces to actually be mathematically inferior to, like a 180 piece or something?
I guess I think main stats alone, no, because the difference is bronze is I-150, silver is I-180, gold is I-210. I think the main stats alone make that a non-possibility, considering the I-180 stuff. While it also can have good stats, also can have complete shit stats. My eye is like really bothering me for some. Well, it's not even bothering me. It feels like I've got like an eyelash stuck between my eyelashes. It's not even touching my eye. It's just bothering the hell out of me.
So if it's an upgrade, if you've got like
if it's a fair upgrade,
unupgraded piece, and you're upgrading to 210, and it's got say like accuracy and parry, and you're a dragoon, do you think that's still going to be better than the I-200 piece that you're replacing?
No.
Okay.
No. Not I-200.
So it's something that people are going to have to be really aware of.
It would have to be replacing something that is far inferior in item level, and even then, you'd look kind of stupid wearing it.
Since when did you give a shit about that?
I mean, like, wearing something with 25... And here's the thing. You could get a piece that literally only has 25 crit and the dex and vit. Like, 25... It doesn't even have 2 off stats. You can get fucking spell speed on monk gear.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. So you're going to see Reddit filled with, look at this garbage, and holy shit, I can't believe I found this all over the place.
So there's going to be a lot of people like getting shit going in Party Finder and Duty Finder and having a sort of 210 chess piece with absolute garbage stats.
Right.
And defending it and people going, nah, fuck off.
Yeah, pretty much.
So what do we call them? Sumunks now?
Awesome. Awesome.
I didn't even hear what you said.
I said, what do we call them now? Sumunks?
Summonunks?
Summununks?
Summonunks?
Yeah.
With the spell speeds.
With the spell speed.
Yeah. How
Did you
long
think of
were you
that
thinking
yourself?
about that?
Yeah.
Summonunks?
Did you come up with it by yourself?
Yeah.
No, I got to bed around 2:30. All right, grade.
Oh,
Sly.
Lord.
I would like to say, by the way, just to add, those caves were fucking amazing when you actually go into them. They're really fucking cool. You can get lost in some of those caves.
No, you can't.
Some of them are pretty fucking, like...
I think I went in all of the caves, and I think it's really just a loop.
You're a loop.
Thanks.
No, yeah, a lot of them do loop around, but they kind of... It's almost like they give you a sense as if, like, it's a big, big place, and you're like, wait, that was a circle. Is it if I go this way? No, I came from that. Oh, shit. And you could spawn a brachiosaur in a cave.
Yes, that did happen.
Oh, shit.
And I was wondering, like, why the fuck is he at the entrance of the cave?
Why is he on a floating island in the first place?
I knew you were going there.
Am I the only one who finds it strange? Am I also not the
Yeah,
only
you're
one
the only one who finds it strange.
No,
All of
a
that-
different
there's
thing.
plenty of shit in the sea clouds that don't have wings.
Am I the only one who finds it strange that the only enemy that, other than King Behemoth, or behemoths in general, that can cast Meteor, is a dinosaur? Is that not ironic?
They might be related. Remember that behemoths are supposed to be descendants of
I mean the fact that dinosaurs were wiped out by meteors and they gave this one a meteor.
Ah,
Yeah, that's hilarious.
that is irony.
It's quite iron. I mean, I understand he had the ability in Final Fantasy IV, but I think it's really fucking hilarious that they gave a Brachiosaur a meteor. It's like, well,
That's great.
I might as well take out my own race again and kill you while I'm at it.
So you think there's some subtext there? You think he's the last Brachiosaurus for a particular reason, and he's like committed some kind of Brachiosaurus genocide?
I think he's
He's
trying
just
to
like-
find Littlefoot.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You don't think he's a Brachiosaurus Hitler?
I'm done.
Hitlersaurus?
No. Trying to find Littlefoot.
Yeah.
All right, so you gave it a what, Sly?
7.3.
I don't know why the 0.3.
7.3? Why not a 7.5? Where does it lose to?
Where does it gain 0.3 or lose 0.2?
The 0.3 is from the gathering stuff that you get. It's actually worth pretty good.
Okay.
You know?
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah.
I can't believe
0.3.
you get a lot of red script stuff from there too. Like even just hitting a node or finding a chest, sometimes you'll just find purified coke, or like clusters or extra spoils or things like that. So it's got some good stuff there. I'm curious to see how it evolves in terms of the pickup groups, but I think free companies will find it to be quite useful and generally relaxing. It's not something that's that it doesn't require a lot of thinking. You can get in there. You can actually use your gatherer without having to worry about these silly restrictions that you worried about all for the red script stuff, and make progress on them.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the end-all, be-all question. How quick do you think people will lose interest?
A month.
1 month,
One
really.
month. 1 month.
So you don't think it's going to become, because I was sort of hoping that it would be like a standard thing, you log on, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday night to do your raids, and maybe you log on Friday night to do a weekly Diadem.
That's the hope.
You don't think that's going to happen?
Unfortunately, I don't think that's going to happen with pickup groups. I think that's where the interest wanes. I think pickup groups will quickly decide not to do it. But what's likely is what I'm hoping people will start forming Diadem link shells, not free companies. Link shells. They can't go in with the free company thing, but you can still organize groups of 8 to do the normal mode consistently.
I don't think people will take it that far. People are going to lose.
People take it that far with hunts.
Hunts. That's one thing. But
yeah, well, why not?
People are, like you said, people are going to lose. Like Happy said, people are going to lose interest in this quickly.
But people lose interest in the hunts, and the link shells hang around because people suspect that maybe
so
they'll
there's
be
going to be a
relevant again
handful.
at some future
There's going to be a
point.
handful of the community that might want to do this, but in the end, is it really worth it for, like, for example, pickup groups? Mike, how much SOs did you say you get from?
I don't remember. Somebody told me you get 40. I was like, I don't know if I got 40. I think I'm trying to think because I got 12 from Thordan.
Mm-hmm.
And then I did Void Arc, and I think that's 20? I don't know how much Void Arc is. It might have been 40. It might have been 40 SOs for the 3 objectives.
So it's about the same as when you do Frontlines. For the first
but it's also a 90-minute event. The idea is you're not only in there for SOs.
But people will leave before then. People will leave before the 90 minutes are up. And I think you still can't get them.
And they'll get blacklisted.
Yeah, probably.
Fuck them. Yeah, absolutely fuck them. I don't know. I feel like they'll keep it relevant. I feel like they've obviously put a lot of work and effort into creating this system, and it is a system that is sort of like, the hunt's only bigger and better, right? And for people to get sick of it in a month, that's fine, but it'll become relevant again. It's got to be something that they keep updating. They'd be crazy not to.
Yeah, I agree with you. They're going to keep it relevant. I mean, probably not the next patch, but the patch after probably. Add another section of the data or...
Well, a different zone that's not
the
Diadem, yeah. I think that people are going to sleep on this feature until 3.2 and then go, fuck. Should have been doing it. Because they're going to get to the point with the new melding system. And they're going to be like,
right.
Fuck, why did I not do that? I could have been rich. Lazy.
So, what on your scale, what would you give it?
I would give it a 7.5 because I'm fucking normal. Unlike some people that give it 0.3s.
So where's the distinction there? Where does it get 0.2?
Where's the 0.2?
It gets the 0.2 because it's relaxing. I actually enjoy the fact that it's relaxing.
Relaxing's worth 0.2.
Relaxing's worth 0.2 for me.
You guys have such a fucking arbitrary score system.
Motherfucker, I'm not just gonna say
this
it doesn't
why
fit
this.
this.
Score shit. Oh my god.
No, you don't score shit because you feel bad. You're like, I don't want to say bad things. It's a 9.
It's a 9.
It's a 9. Please don't.
It's an 11.3. Well, he don't give it a 0.3.
You know what?
It's just an 11.
Your scoring system.
Why do you keep adding 0.3s to everything? It's an 11.3. Oh wait. I think
the
that
American judge is strict.
I think it's gonna be. I think I'll probably score it higher after I tried a little bit more. But this is first impressions. My first impression is 7.5.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's reasonable.
Yeah. Okay, and now before we get into other features, we have the best thing about this patch, Lords of Verminion. I am not gonna lie, this is a way better game than I thought it would be.
Really?
Really. It's a way more
up to it, haven't you?
It's a way more micro-intensive game than I initially anticipated. It was pretty much going to come down to people just fuck it. Here's all this shit, throw it out there. But there's a legitimate counterplay and reactive play and positioning on the map and ensuring that your units, that move slow are moving at the right time and moving the units that move fast to get there before the opponent. And your side objectives, there's enemies that can protect your structures, enemies that can destroy other structures quicker. So it's all that exists in games like StarCraft 2, but the game doesn't outright tell you, hey, this thing is a buster of whatever. It deals high damage. It makes it good for taking out. It deals lots of high consistent damage. Makes it good for taking out structures. They literally spell it out for you. This is good against these things. And make sure, and if you have at least 4 of the similar type around, you can do the special abilities. I think it is way better than it should be.
I'm not good.
Way better than it should be.
I'm not good at management. I'm not an RTSer. I'm not an RTSer. I haven't played League. I haven't done any StarCraft or anything. It's interesting. I learned the hard way. The Odin Gate crash. Rush gates with Odin.
Everybody's been doing Odin gate crash at the low elos. It's so fucking funny. It's easy to counter. For me, I know enough about it to know. As soon as I saw it coming, I countered it, but I couldn't beat the guy for the rest of the game because I was so tired from streaming for 9 hours at that point. I was like, I don't fucking remember what any of my units do. And that's the only thing. There's information overload. There's so many variants in what the units do that it is impossible for me to pick as few minions as they give you on that hotbar to bring into combat.
So
hang on. For people in the chat that haven't encountered an Odin gate crash, and you're saying that this is quite a common strategy, how exactly do we counter that?
You stop them before they get to your gate instead of letting them just charge your gate. Odins are monsters.
Just don't let them do it.
Odins are monsters, so you counter them. You counter them with what's it called?
Poppets.
With poppets.
Right.
I can't remember. I can't. Critters beat monsters. Monsters beat poppets. Poppets beat critters. You counter them.
Right.
You counter them with critters, and you don't stack all in front of them because all their attacks are cleaves.
Right.
And you win because they only get to summon 2 of them. You get 6, and then you can always defend. By the time they reach your gates, you have extra defense forces because the gate is so close to the base.
Yeah.
All right. There you go, everyone. Lords of Verminion metagame.
But that's the thing. Every game is different like that. Like if somebody doesn't Odin gate crash you like that, there are ways to go around it. You don't always have to assume the enemy is going to Odin gate crash you. So
now, Happy, I know you're really big into RTS.
I wouldn't say really big. I watch esports.
Okay. Ethys, what about you?
I'm gonna give it a try, but I suspect I'll probably go back and play Blood Bowl 2 when I feel like playing something like this.
So how accessible do you think this is to, say, a person who wants to give this a try but has never played an RTS game in their life?
It's gonna be pretty rough. It's a lot of information to take in a really short period of time. Really short period of time.
So they don't hold your hand that much.
They give you the tutorial, and then they give you a practice match, and the NPC is stupid in that practice match, and then you can start going into ranked immediately, which is I didn't go into a ranked game. I went into an unranked game. I still got Odin gate crash. Might as well be Disco Nunu at this point. But it's just... And the game actually went all the way 10 minutes, and I only had half my health, because me and the other guy were just like, go there, you there, me there, protect that, go attack there. It was like, it was really fucking frantic, and it was a lot of fun. I think they did a better job on it than I ever expected them to do.
So, end all be all, Hap, what would you
I give
rank
it a
it?
9.
Whoa.
The one off is because it's so much information, and you're not really given enough time to process that unless you want to sit down and study all your minions and understand their counters. It's gonna be something that eventually comes down to an RTS pro writing up all the counters on like a spreadsheet or something.
Now hang on, that's the same score that you gave to Thordan.
No, I gave Thordan a 10.
Absolutely. You did give Thordan a 10. Okay. All
Yeah,
right.
I gave Thordan a
9
perfect
though.
10.
That's jeez.
I'm not even ranking it. I can't. I don't really have a basis to rank it. I've tried it. Like you said, it was a lot of information overload. This is coming from a person who doesn't regularly play RTSs. I tried StarCraft a long time ago. This wasn't my cup of tea. This one, I did the tutorial. I did a few of the practice quote unquote missions. I was just throwing random shit on the board, and somehow, some way, by the grace of Jesus, I won. Yeah, I can't really rank this for myself because I don't have that as strong. I wouldn't say as strong as the interest, because I would like to actually, get better at it, but it's going to take a lot of practice, so I can't really rank it.
So it sounds like it's going to be pretty overwhelming for a lot of people.
Yeah, for a lot of
And there's going to be a lot of people that go in there and do one match and go,
What the fuck was that?
And see,
what would you say to those people? Because I mean, like you say, never played RTS before, you go in, it's a bit overwhelming. You might have one match and then just decide, no, this isn't for me. Whereas if maybe you'd stuck with it and you had some kind of direction, you could sort of get into it. So would you give them some sort of advice, either of you?
My advice: watch a bit of StarCraft. I think that they're missing a very important system that is needed in games like this. A squad system where you can assign squads of units to a hotkey and then immediately press that hotkey to only control that unit. That way, you don't have to always drag and say, "I want these units right here," which makes the game a lot more frantic than it needs to be. The constant reorganization of the microplay. I'd say if you're someone who's not an innovator, be a follower. Find someone else who knows all the counters, look at them, and memorize a few of them. Get used to a few good combos, things that can take down Arcana Stones, things that can take down gates. Stick to those, and you'll probably still be able to beat some of the less informed people. Eventually, it may give you enough interest to move on and start discovering some of the higher tier things. We esports now, baby.
So, Hap, speaking of innovators, can we expect some?
No,
some
I am
Lords of
absolutely not.
Verminion
I am absolutely not an
micromanaging
innovator.
meta guides?
Like, here's the thing. It's not so bad to sit down and look at them and be like, okay, this thing is strong against, because it lets you know exactly what they're strong against. It's very binary. That being said, there's so many fucking minions. And there's minions I don't have. Like, then you have people who don't have all the minions saying, well, just I'm going to work with these minions. And then you have the people with every minion in the game like, shit, I have so many minions, what the hell do I do? I just want to use them all.
You can't even fit them all on that toolbar.
Nope.
Jeez. You have a limited space.
But if you can get good at it, you will probably, it's better than it should be. That's all I'm saying. It's better than it should be.
And you gave it a 9.
I gave it a 9. I was very impressed with the level of depth and how well it plays.
Now, I'm going to play devil's advocate with both of you, because there are a lot of people in the community who felt pretty strong about this. Hey, we've waited how many months, and the biggest thing you're working on in this patch is Lords of Verminion? What do you say to those people?
Okay, you don't like it, don't play it.
Simple.
Or give it a try, and maybe you will like it.
I think it's perfectly legit to have a debate about that. I don't think there's an easy answer to that, because, like you say, there are a lot of people that are not really into it and are not going to be into it and feel like it's a waste of development time. But like you say, vote with your wallet.
I'll just say
if it's
this.
a make or break thing.
There's a lot of people that think Savage is a waste of time, that it only caters to 1%. Why waste your time on it? The hardcore community turns around and says the casual stuff is a waste of time. There's no sense of achievement. The people who people who like Lord of Verminion say it's definitely breaks up the monotony. People who don't like it said I could have had an extra raid boss instead of this.
Well, the only difference is that they're taking a gamble with Lords of Verminion, and those people don't exist yet.
Well, we're going to be.
They're not pandering. They're not pandering to a group of players that play Final Fantasy XIV. They're trying to create like a new thing.
Yeah.
So, yeah, no, that's a difficult one. I think it is legit. I'm not going to say to people like, if you don't like Lords of Verminion, just shut up and fuck off, like I say about most things. But give it a try. I'm definitely going to give it a try.
I think you'll be pleasantly surprised at because the tutorial will make you feel okay, and then you go into the next match like okay.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's I
got that down.
Yeah, that's what it is. That's exactly what my feelings are. I give it a 9. I like it. Solid piece of content.
A 9 out of
Okay, yeah. So then we're gonna wrap this up with talking about a few other features. We could just say Mudgers are fixed. You can leave now.
I think that was
It by far was the highlight of.
I think that was the first thing.
highlight of the patch.
Yeah.
Let's just say this: there are people who are in Australia that don't have Mudger lag anymore.
Hang on, let me try it. I'll tell you.
What it feels
Holy
like
shit.
they did.
Hang on. Oh my god. Oh my god. All right, I'm switching to ninja. How did they do that? It's magic.
So what I think they did is they completely removed the animation. You know how you have a 0.5 second period to cue something into your
Yeah.
I think they removed the I think they removed the entire 0.5 second cue in. So it's just automatic immediately.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. So even with people with like 300 ms, it's playing smoothly.
Oh
As long
my
as
God, I'm
if
so
you have
hyped right now.
over 500 ms, you'll notice a difference at this point.
Oh, I'm so moist. Hang on, it's just come off cooldown. Oh, oh.
There you go.
All right, I'm done.
There you go.
Sorry, I'm here.
It's impressive. I knew I had to say Australia because I knew he would try it immediately.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, they're so good.
It's quite impressive that they managed to, like, all it took was just remove this fucking problem and we're good to go. Highlight for me.
I didn't believe they were gonna do it. I thought it was gonna be like slightly better.
No, it's phenomenal.
But that is amazing.
Sly, you need to try it too at some point. Even
Oh
if
my God.
you don't even need to play the job, just press the buttons a few times and then that's it.
Oh my God, I need a cigarette.
You feel like you just had sex?
He was sounding like he did.
I did.
With-
Absolutely did.
Yeah.
With no lag.
No.
Sex with no lag.
Yeah. Because
I wonder
normally
what
I have to
sex
be
would
like,
be.
hang on, I need to do this a little bit slower. Like, is it in or is it out? I can't really tell because, there's like a 400 millisecond latency here, so I can only go so fast.
What are you on? What are you on? Friggin' Balmung? You're ERPing over there? What's going on? Because that's the only way you have sex with lag is ERP. Can somebody quote that? Put it on Twitter. The only way you lag during sex is during ERP or something like that. Oh man.
God.
Okay. So, are there any other features? I guess the Vanu Beast Tribes. I don't know how much you guys have dabbled in those quests. Haven't dabbled. Finally, something that you haven't dabbled.
It's good.
Yeah.
It's good.
Did you get
I
to
like
dance?
it. No, that's going to be like endgame. I think the experience gain is a little bit disappointing. Again, it's the same as a Fate, the same as a low-level Mark. I feel like if it had a bigger EXP boost, it would encourage more people to do it. Because a lot of people didn't do them in A Realm Reborn. And it's a shame because I feel like there's always a slight sort of hurdle with them where it's kind of tedious and trying at start, and then you sort of get you get a little bit more involved, you get a little bit more attached to the characters and the story, and I suspect that it's going to be a good story. And if they incentivized it just even a little bit more, I'd be stoked. I don't know if the mount and the sort of piddly bit of experience is going to be quite enough. But it is good that they've done it. It is very, very good that they've done this sort of scaled method. I like it.
I like it as well. I did it on my monk today. That's it. And I'll do it on my monk every day. And then when I level another job, I'll do it on that every day. I wish they'd go back and just treat... Like, I know it's not the same because some of those quests were designed differently. I would like it if they treated all of the old ones like that, including the Ixal.
I think they could.
Yeah.
I can't think of any reason, like, story-wise, why they couldn't scale them.
The EXP in dungeons is massive, in case you guys haven't done that, since we were talking about leveling. I ran a level 50 dungeon. I ran Lost City of Amdapur. The roulette itself gave 293,000. Diabolos gave 60,000. Both the other mini bosses gave 30,000, and all the mobs gave about 2,000. So about doubled the experience that the dungeon gave. And I'm seeing in the chat Litzor saying that the 3.0 dungeons, 51 to 59, had their EXP approximately tripled.
Yeah, triple.
Now I'm assuming that's with
No way.
Rested and Armory and whatnot. But even so, they got buffed by
Tripled?
tripled.
Yeah, I can't.
No way.
No.
Le
Fucking hell.
tripled.
I'll believe that when I see it.
Le triple. So
What's
I'm
that?
going to be leveling some jobs at this point.
New gerbs?
If it's really on that scale, my Rested XP is about to take up. Just
I sort of regret leveling as many jobs as I have now.
Gubal Library's over 1 million EXP a run now. So you get the 59 to
What?
60 in like 3.5 runs, pretty much.
Oh my god.
So 10k per mob. There you go. Plus boss EXP, plus roulette EXP if you get them in the leveling roulette.
Holy
Yeah.
shit.
So it's pretty crazy. That's a lot. I think the mobs used to be worth 3k each, or like 4k each. Now
Yeah,
they're worth
not a
like
lot.
12 to 13.
Jesus.
So that's pretty big because I have to level like 3 jobs to 60 before 3.2. And now I don't feel like a piece of shit when I go to do it.
So do you think it was? So do you think this is kind of what I've been saying like a while back? Something to catch new players up to content.
I think it's
Definitely.
I think it's to more or less not make it feel like they can't level other jobs after the first one.
Mm-hmm.
Because the first job, this definitely makes it easier to not get stuck in the old level ranges. Because there are still points in Heavensward where it's like Corthus, you're like you can't do shit because like it jumped up 3 levels for some reason in the main story. So with the new dungeons, you shouldn't feel as far behind. Granted, you're still not benefiting from Armory. You may be rested, but not Armory. So I imagine it's still gonna be quite off, but I'm leveling the fuck out of some shit. That's all I gotta say. That's all I gotta say. Red script items and red gatherer scripts were made a lot easier. Both. I honestly the traded items used for the Splendor vendor, my favorite NPC name in the game. He's like, the guy's rocking fucking materials now. 3 times the amount of materials, and on top of that, those materials drop in the Diadem, and you can buy them with law.
Jeez.
So, new
What do I do
recipes.
without law?
All the old I-180 recipes, pretty easy to do now. Reasonable thing that people may be able to afford coming back, and granted, the amount of time. I'd say it's more or less going to make buying the materials to gear up your gatherers and crafters a lot easier. In red script equivalent material.
Okay, red script material. Yeah.
Yeah, like you're looking at red script level shit right there.
Yeah.
Oh, Simcock. Anyway.
Other features, just little tiny feature. But have you tried the idle cam? Have you used it yet?
Yeah, we used group pose and I tried it. The idle cam was fucking hilarious. It zoomed in on a mob that was moving and the camera and the mob just moved off screen, and I was just looking at nothing.
Just
for
gone.
For 20 seconds.
What's the shortcut for it?
iCam.
Yeah, /iCam.
I can't. Ooh.
Did you find? Are you looking at someone's ass? That's happened too.
No, I'm in the gold saucer and it's ooh. It's
Yeah,
nice.
it locks into nearby NPCs and
Yeah,
whatnot.
when I was in the gold saucer, it actually zoomed in on Lalafell's ass.
Yeah, it does that a little
yeah?
bit. Yeah,
Yeah,
it
I
actually
do like
zooms
that.
in on ass and crotch quite a bit.
Yeah. does
Okay.
that quite a lot.
I can get behind that.
The group pose also
Right.
used that during Thordan after clearing that. That works well as well. There's a lot of quality of life stuff that came in this patch. One thing is still funny. People are like, what are these paladin buffs? What, Square Enix, what are you doing? Shield swipe? Come on. It was a pretty good buff. It wasn't a great buff, but it was better than nothing at all. It didn't fix what everyone...
I think it's good. That's something that they've been asking for forever. I think that's great.
I also think paladins are going to find that not only with the new abilities, but their cooldowns are going to be real effective in Thordan. I looking at it, Sheltron really useful there, like really really useful in Thordan. Bulwark really useful for certain attacks. Sentinel, all their cooldowns are really good. That fight feels like a fight where I can bring a Dark Knight or a Paladin, and ultimately it doesn't matter that Dark Knight does more damage or that it has the magic defense. They're there. They are what they are. There's parts where I can say, hey, the Dark Knight is good for this tank buster, and there's parts where, hey, I can say the Paladin's good for this tank buster. So it feels, if they can reach that balance with Paladin and Dark Knight more, then just the matter of fact is Warrior's still the best the best tank of the 3.
Yeah.
Oh man, God, if only we could go over everything in these patch notes, because they are plentiful with these quality of life things. The Gold Saucer challenge log, by the way, really good.
Didn't really.
Gives you a fair bit. What does it give you? Like 25,000 a day?
20,500 a week. But
20,500. All right.
But on top of that, you'll likely do a bunch of chocobo races, get a few thousand from that, do the mini games, get 100 from that, bunch of triple triad matches. So
mini crackpot.
Yeah, and the jumbo crackpot was worth over 200 on my server. So it wasn't even the max tier, so it looks like it's going to be pretty hard to lose on investment now with the jumbo. Oh man. Oh, and the tenancy for the houses. Mel finally got to invite me to her house.
I got a mansion. I got a mist mansion.
I finally get the trash Mel. I mean,
I got
live
a
in Mel's house.
Besides my FC house in Gridania, I have a mist mansion, and it was one of my friends who just randomly added me to it. And as soon as I get out, I think I was getting out of the Diadem, I checked my teleport list, and I see Mist. Like, what the fuck? I don't have a house in Mist. Like, he's like, I added you to the house randomly. I needed to add people to the house. I'm like, thank you.
Oh, fuck yeah. That's awesome.
Don't forget, I haven't done it yet, but new sightseeing logs. Thank you. I know Ethys actually cares about that, because Ethys,
I do actually care about that.
Yeah, I think there's like 21 or something more sightseeing logs.
Yes, there are.
All with their their own lore segments, of course.
Yes,
one complaint I've seen with the new hairstyles and the new dances is that they're very MGP expensive. Apparently, I think the afro is 80,000 MGP, for example. Granted, I think the whole point of the gold saucer is to make you want to play the mini games repeatedly to get.
And I think
prizes.
A lot of people already have that MGP to begin with. With the exception of the rare few that don't go. I mean, I go every now and then. I still got a little bit of MGP stacked. Not enough for a fucking afro, but a little bit. Mini crack.
Oh, it's 80K for the dances. My bad.
Oh, for the dance, for the twirl.
Yeah, So, get on it, Sly.
No.
That's all right. I'll log into your character and do it for you.
No, I'm good.
No, you're not. Not until you have that. The ability to mount in the Ethernet in Idleshire. And Idleshire did get some visual upgrades, too. Rowena is building.
Yeah,
so she's actually using her money or her resources.
She is eventually
Well, they're giving her the Revenant's Toll treatment. It's going to end up exactly the same. By the end of the expansion, there's going to be some massive flourishing.
And then we'll move on, and Rowena will update.
Yeah, and it'll be empty again.
Yeah. All right, I built this up. Now you NPCs can live here in peace.
Yeah.
But we'll leave like 2 useful NPCs here, just so people have the occasional reason to come back.
Revenant's Toll is sad now. It's really sad.
Yeah, it's not the bustling.
We're just leaving all these ghost towns in our wake.
I mean, what are they going to do to keep people in that zone?
I don't know. Maybe they could like knock it down again and take the shit with them.
Just pick up Revenant's Toll.
Leave it as a true ghost town. Just leave nothing. Leave nothing.
So
well, it's such a waste of all this,
and let all the fauna take over.
Sure.
Fucking Aetherite. Like tear down the Aetherite too, because we don't need that shit.
Fuck it.
So I have a quick question. This one's more geared towards both of you, but I'm curious about Ethys. There's another piece of content that we didn't get in 3.1 that's not the anima weapons.
Mm-hmm.
We did not get the Slythesquirrel storyline quest.
That's right, yeah. And we're getting that with 0.15.
We are getting that with 0.15, which is guaranteed. Now that is guaranteed. Are they gonna keep doing that? Why does the Slythesquirrel get pushed back? That's what I want to know.
I don't know. Maybe it's because like I was saying, the main story felt a little bit brief. We were talking earlier. So maybe it's to have something, in 3.15 to make it, feel a little bit more substantial, keep that interest sustained, I suppose. That, we've been waiting for 5 months, and then people like you, Happy, have just blown through all the content in a day.
Hey, I didn't finish the main story. I didn't finish it all in a day.
You'll finish the main story within 90 minutes of the end of the show.
No, I'll be asleep within 9 minutes of the end of the show.
Well, then that's
90 minutes. 90 minutes tomorrow.
90 minutes after you wake up.
There you go.
Yeah, but you know what I mean? I'm pretty sure that's what I don't think it would have been because they hadn't finished it yet. It would have been because they were looking at 0.15 and they've maybe only got the animal weapons and a couple of little quality of life things, and they're like, oh yeah, maybe we should, pad this out a little bit.
Maybe. I don't know. Hopefully 3.15 is, an actual indicator of a halfway point this time.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I'm actually really glad that we haven't got the animal weapons yet. And that they did come out at the same time as all this other content. Because you end up having to prioritize. And if you want to push for your animal weapon, you don't get to do all that other shit.
Oh, I mean, I would be fine.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I would be fine. Just start it tomorrow. There we go. Done. Maybe I'll do another Zeta just for fun. For fun.
All right, well, for sane people, for people who like to, pace themselves, I think it's a good thing that we're not getting all of these things at once.
Come
and that some of them are pushed
on.
back a little bit.
All right. One last thing on the side, and this one's to Sly.
Mm-hmm.
The hunt has upgrade items. Are you going to do it?
No.
But
That's all right,
Sly,
it's Void
it's
Arc.
got gob twines. You can
Ooh.
get a gob coat and a gob twine. You can get 2 gob twines per week and upgrade your shit.
I can get one from Void Arc. Fuck it. No.
One
Well,
from
you'll be
Void Arc.
210 in a couple of weeks from Void Arc anyway, won't you?
Yeah. My right side's
Yeah, well,
done.
fuck it.
My right side's
Yeah,
done. I only
fuck
need
it.
3 pieces. Fucking
But you could be done this week.
no.
And then you're
No.
good.
No.
What do you think about it being added to the hunt again? Because I honestly had overlooked that even. I'd overlooked that even being a possibility.
Well, who's surprised by it?
I'm not. Once it happened, I wasn't surprised, but
Yeah.
I forgot that it was even a thought. I was like, oh yeah, so it's because everyone's like, oh, the Diadem's gonna be Hunt 2.0. I was like, what about Hunt 1.0? Oh, okay, that's
Yeah,
gonna give
that's still a
fucking
It's still a thing. Yeah. That
gob
thing still
gob
exists.
twine. And the gob
Yeah,
dips
that's
are
great.
likely hitting in 3.15 when the relic weapons come.
I said 3.2.
No. I'm telling you, man, 3.15.
Yeah, I think they'll be in the Void Arc 3.15.
And in the hunt. But I think
No.
there'll be 8.
No. No. Fuck that.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
I think for Void Arc though, the reason why the thing stacks is not just for inventory, but because you'll need multiple to get a gob dip. Like you can't just use 1 week's worth of Miyachi farthings to get a gob dip. It'll probably be 2 weeks, maybe 3. They might go that route because they don't want people instantly getting a 210 weapon unless they save the farthings ahead of time. But unless there's anything else you guys want to talk about, I think we've exhausted most of the important pints.
Man.
Pints?
Pints.
You
We've
want a
exhausted
point?
all of the pints. We're all quite half full. 3
Yes.
sheets to the wind.
We'll come back to a story-related thing with Ethys at some other point because we know Ethys
Yeah.
is dying to do it, and then eventually
Oh, you
he'll
have
want
no
to do
idea.
another Eorzivia and make us look
Yes.
stupid.
And did it
Eh.
happen?
Did what happen?
Did it happen already? No, it didn't.
What? Did
Yes.
what?
Oh yeah, the Maiden's Rhapsody.
Oh, that's right. The Final Fantasy 11 event is tomorrow.
Oh, I thought you were trying to bait Happy there.
Did what happen?
No, I wasn't trying. I was trying to see if
Yeah.
it actually happened or not. And
I was
I'm
waiting for like a
surprised-
John Cena joke or something there. No.
Yeah, I'm surprised Happy didn't mention it himself.
I was thinking about it earlier, and then it kind of slipped my mind. Yeah, the
That's
Final
tomorrow.
Fantasy 11 event is tomorrow.
Yes, it is.
Starts. It's from Wednesday, November 11th to Thursday, December 31st.
Jeez.
It is 5-6 weeks of the event.
Great.
So do it
Do
slowly.
you know where to pick it up?
You pick it up in the Adventurers Guild in Upper Decks of Limsalo Minsa.
Yep.
There you go, bro.
11/11, lucky
Smart.
numbers. 11/11, make a wish. But overall, I think that 3.1 has been a positive experience, despite the fact that I literally finished everything in a day. It ultimately feels like the right patch for the people who are in between. Like, I am not an in-betweener. I am the person who blows through this patch. I am content with the fact that I am the person who blows through the patch. I will not complain that I am the person who blows through this patch. That is me. I think for the people who don't, it will have an extended joy factor. So.
And the people who do and complain about it,
And at this point, Sly, I don't know how you're going to stream after this because I'm looking at you. I'm like, Sly is going to die. I'm looking at your face and I'm like, he's not bored. He's ready to pass the fuck out.
12 a.m.
12 a.m. That's what you get for wanting to play Fallout 4 also. That's what you get. It's all right. So on that note, guys, we are going to wrap up the show. Hopefully you guys are enjoying patch 3.1. Take your time with it. No need to go crazy. It'll be there forever. Enjoy Fallout 4 if you need to. You're not missing anything when it comes to 3.1. Not missing anything, but it's not something that won't be there in a week. Just make sure you get this event done before December 31st. It starts tomorrow. So on that note, let's sign off and head over to post show, aka going to bed. So, so Sly, first of all, where can they find you, my friend?
You can find me at twitch.tv/Slyakagreyfox. You can find me on Twitter at Slythefox. You can find me on Instagram at Slyakagreyfox007. You can find me in Behemoth, Plot 14, Ward 5 of the Lavender Beds, home to the Foxhound FC. Yeah, that's pretty much it for me.
You just got that on auto now. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's also
Like your
because
eyes
you
just
just
glaze
want it done.
over. You're just like,
Yeah. All right, Ethys, where can they find you? And by the way, congratulations on your internet working for an entire show.
Woo!
fuck you.
No sharing boxes, goddammit. Yes.
And now he has energy.
It's a miracle. It's a miracle. You can find me youtube.com/EthysAsher. Twitter is Ethys FFXIV. What's my Twitch? I think it's twitch.tv/EthysAsher. I haven't been streaming much again because I got exams and shit at the moment, but I'll probably be streaming reasonably regularly after another week or two. So look forward to that. And yeah, I'm here once a month. So keep
I know
watching State of the Realm.
I was getting questions like, what happened to Ethys? I was like, what are you talking about? He's like, he hasn't made a video in weeks. And I'm like,
oh yeah, I had exams. I had a massive paper. I got really burned out and I got sick. Why would they ask you? Why?
because you
What
come
would
on
you
the
know?
show. Because you come
Now-
on the show, so there
Now
are
y'all see Ethys's, if you haven't noticed by now, and why wouldn't you? You see his Twitter. Ask him. Like,
Yeah. Yeah,
It's there for a
don't
reason.
nag happy about where I am and what I'm doing.
No, it's not nagging. It's just like, is Ethys okay? It's like,
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
he's
well,
alive.
look,
He's here.
that's really sweet of you guys. I am still alive. Content is still going to be slow for the next week or two because I'm coming into the home stretch for my my degree and I got some big papers,
Hey.
but I'm still up, still here. It's all good. Don't worry about
Hey,
it.
degree.
Hey.
Is it? I was gonna make a joke about having a degree for astronomy, but I lost it somewhere along the way. Yeah, I don't think the moon counts as astronomy. Anyway, so nope. On that note, I am your other host, Michael, Mr. Happy Povermi. You can find me everywhere, Mr. Happy 1227, YouTube, Xehanort 1227. But if you just Google Mr. Happy 1227, it'll probably take you there anyway. So it doesn't even matter. Hope you caught all that because I don't even know what I just said. That's how tired I
it's
am.
just a blur. It's just a blur.
I'm sorry, I like that song.
Out of 10.
Out of 10. That's the other way around. Before it was 9 out of now it's out of 10. Oh man. So anyway, thank you everyone for coming by. We're gonna go over to post show, which will probably not last long because as Sly said, fuck it, we're going to post show. I can't even word. That's it.
See you next week.
Oh shit. See you guys.
Oh,
right.
God.
See you. Okay.